Hey everybody, welcome once again to the Football Fandemic, where today we're going to be talking about no undefeated teams. We're going to be looking at lots of upsets. And we got one player who completed the Jersey Rainbow. You'll want to find out about him and a whole lot more right here on the Football Fandemic. Well, hey, Josh. Matthew Thomas here with Josh Kolodziejski. We are sans Brandon Colmark today. He will be back at some point. But we did have a crazy week of football. With a lot of upsets. We're going to get into all that and more. But as we always do to start off, we're going to talk about some of the big news, headlines, and goings on around the NFL. And we had a few this week. What were those, Josh? Start us off.
Yeah, well, you mentioned it right off the top. With the Jersey Rainbow being completed, that is being completed by one Joe Flacco.
How many teams has he been? Now, was he the starting quarterback on all those teams?
He has at least gotten at least one start with every single team he's been on. Obviously, the Ravens, where he goes on and wins the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl MVP. He went to the Broncos for a season after Lamar Jackson took over for him in Baltimore.
Right.
Spent some time with the Jets, and I believe he was a backup to Zach Wilson, but then Zach Wilson got injured at the beginning of the season, so Flacco started a couple of games then.
So that was his green jersey.
Yeah. I'm trying to also
start with red. Was he Tampa Bay? No.
So the red. They kind of cheated a little bit with the red because they used an alternate uniform that the Ravens wore once. So it's it's a little bit of it, but he did technically still wear it. So maybe that counts, but
and I don't know if it's like you could collect the jersey of Joe Flacco.
Yes,
you could get it in the rainbow, even though it was okay. So we got the red. I mean, we got the. Was there a anything before the orange? Orange would be next, and that would be current both and Broncos, right? Broncos, blue, orange.
Broncos, Bengals, and if you count just the helmet, the Browns as well for a couple of turns.
Yeah.
And then yellow.
There is no yellow, is there?
I'm trying to think.
I saw a meme that had all these lined up, and I should have looked at them closer.
Yeah, no, I don't know if there is. I don't know if there's a yellow team outside of like the Packers who use some. I mean, the Vikings use yellow.
Steelers. He wasn't on the Steelers at all, right?
Was not on the Steelers. Yeah, we were lied to by this meme. It's a very unfortunate.
And now we're propagating that lie.
Yes.
But we're also correcting ourselves. So no yellow, but we did have. Okay, so you got the red, orange, yellow, green Jets,
New York Jets,
blue Colts. What a disaster. Indigo. And violet, which I don't know if they're going to have one for each of those. Probably the Ravens again, just kind of hit that purple spot. Yeah. So,
but he's been around. He's been around the Rust Belt now. So if he wants, those are swing states. If he looks like he's starting to get a campaign going for either the president or the governor of one of these places. He's trying to gather some votes, gain some popularity in, Pennsylvania and Ohio and Indiana. He's going all over the map.
States. That's right. Well, Indiana's not a swing, but some of those others. Yeah.
So President Flacco is up next for him once he finally decides to hang up the cleats, which might be never at this point because he's just been around. But he's going to start for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Browns
this week.
Taking over for Jake Browning.
That
I don't know
how
big
Jake
of an upgrade.
Browning feel so bad. Like that you trade for a guy midweek and he starts that week. It's like not even hey, we'll give you a week to get used to the way the plays go, who you're playing with. None of that. It's like, this guy's so bad. Get in there.
Yeah. And it's a little sad. Like, I feel for Jake Browning because he's trying his best. And it reminds me of when I, for a year, decided to try and be a teacher, because down here in Arizona, we have like a teacher shortage. So even people who didn't get degrees specifically in teaching can try to be teachers for a full year, which is why we're probably in last in education usually. So I decided to try being a sixth grade teacher, and I tried my darndest. I was doing like lesson plans and all of this. I just could not get it done. I could not get good control of the class. I could not get it done. I was not great at like anything outside of speaking up in front of everybody. So like they were kind of boring. And I also had to switch from social studies to math and back to science and kind of go all over the place because the teacher turnover was so difficult.
Oh
But
man.
that is Jake Browning with the Cincinnati Bengals. He was me.
Yeah.
I was not a good teacher despite trying my best. Jake Browning, you might want to find another career in another field, or just stay as the backup for the. I mean, you can make good money as
Yeah.
a
Make
backup.
good
Certainly
money holding
more,
that clipboard.
certainly more than I made as a teacher. So,
A little bit.
yes, but Joe Flacco will take over. I do have a list of quarterbacks. I found it was leaked to me that the Bengals were interested in before Joe Flacco that they just were not able to grab. I have Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
I have Jameis Winston.
Okay.
Uh,
Eating those
I
dubs.
I have Derek Carr coming out of retirement.
No.
I have Lou Anarumo trying to redeem himself in Cincinnati.
Okay.
I have 50-year-old draft bust Achilles Smith. He was their first round pick back in 1999.
Yeah.
Two more. Achilles Smith Jr., who is Achilles Smith's son, is a true freshman backup at Oregon right now. And then I also have Manticore, which is the Bengal tiger that attacked Siegfried and Roy in Las Vegas. So those are my
options.
yes, but those I think Manticore is no longer with us, and the rest were not interested in coming to play for the Cincinnati
and
Bengals, so they had to settle for Flacco.
One of them was a true a true freshman, so
Yes,
he couldn't get. So,
they tried to,
but the Tiger could have if he would have still been alive.
Yes, good tackler. He would have
great tackler.
He would have been really good on the defense. I don't know if he would have been able to throw the ball well.
Flagged for mauling your opponent. Oh man, that's too funny.
Do you think that the Flacco changes the outlook of the Bengals moving forward in any like serious, significant way?
Well, here's the thing. If we hadn't just been watching him on the Browns, I might like try and say yes, but we've just been watching him with another team that's horrible, and it's not their defense that's horrible. It is not the running backs that are horrible. Now, I don't know how their offensive line is for the Browns, but I do know that offense itself was not clicking, and I just don't see it getting better with the Bengals just because Joe Flacco has stepped in to that. I don't know what magic he had when he led the Browns at the end of that season, but it never showed up in Indy. And it didn't show up this year for the Browns. I don't anticipate it showing up for the Bengals.
And people are saying that, you know, he'll have a lot more weapons. I mean, he does have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, but he had a lot of weapons in Indianapolis. Granted, probably none to the talent level of Jamar Chase, but I would say probably a little bit deeper around him and a better offensive line as well. And he really wasn't able to get the job done there. So it's going to be rough, I think, still for the Bengals. Maybe it adds one more win to their total without Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow returns this season, I don't know if it's enough to kind of tide the ship over.
Yeah. I think for him now, when he comes back, there's not going to be enough wins to make a serious push for anything. So why bring him back? I think he's done for this year. He's just going to heal. And I think even if they get a win, it's going to be down the road because I just think you have to get on the same page as other players. Even if you both know the route that's going to be run, there's timing, there's just the way you two work together. It's going to take more than they've got. So Bengals still at the bottom of the pile for me.
Yeah, he does have one win this season, Joe Flacco, and I think that's perhaps why our other co-host, is not here today because he is shaking in his boots and trying to put some sort of game plan up to stop the inevitable Joe Flacco when he takes on the Green Bay Packers.
I was just going to say, does Cincinnati take on the Packers later this year?
They
Do they
take no
have?
this week. This week
Is
they're
that
taking on
this
the
week?
Packers.
I
Yeah.
was not even paying attention to who they were playing this week. That is too hilarious. What if he beat the Packers twice this year, and that's the only 2 games he won?
It would change Brandon. I don't know what Brandon's current opinion is on Joe Flacco, but I think it would
It would break
make his
Brandon.
yes. I think that's why he's not here. He's scrambling to get the game plan ready with the other owners and kind of relay that to the coaching staff. But it
I don't
should
know
be
how
a
he's going to know
interesting
what to
game.
do though, because the last win that Joe Flacco had over the Packers was mostly the defense. He does not have that in
He certainly does not.
Cincinnati. So he's going about it a different. He's got a different plan of Joe Flacco. So Brandon's got to do some chess playing here, outsmart him somehow.
And that wasn't the only trade the Browns made this week. They
That's right.
also traded their cornerback, their number 2 cornerback, Greg Newsome II, to the Jacksonville Jaguars, along with a 6th round pick to acquire both a 7th round pick and then the Jaguars, I guess, top cornerback Tyson Campbell, although he hasn't been great over the last couple of seasons. So Tyson Campbell comes to the Browns. Greg Newsome II goes to the Jaguars, and it basically just a switch of defensive backs. I think
Who won? Who won? Who wins in that?
Man, I like Greg Newsome's upside a little bit more, and I think he might fit the system a little bit better for Jacksonville. Plus, they get the better draft pick. I know that's probably marginal at this point between a 6th rounder and a 7th rounder, but I would say that Jacksonville wins that one by a hair. I'm not Tyson Campbell. I don't know if he's completely done, but he just doesn't fit the defensive scheme where the Jaguars are running a lot more match coverage, and the Browns, at least against the Vikings, were doing a lot of man-to-man, and that's what Tyson Campbell has been at his best. It doesn't require as much communication with the other defensive backs and as much confusion. So it just requires you to go one-on-one with one guy. So maybe it's both teams, and the draft pick is what gives a slight push to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, when I saw it, it was after the Flacco trade. When I saw the Flacco trade, I'm like, oh, it makes sense. The Bengals are looking for somebody. Who can you get easy and cheap? Oh, yeah, Joe Flacco. Not thinking about Manticore. But when I saw a second trade, I started to think, are the Browns doing a fire sale? Are they just done with this season and like starting to try and stock picks? But then I saw that they didn't get a better pick in that pick switch. I'm like, what's going on here? So I wasn't really sure, and I don't really know those 2 corner backs very well. So now we got the story. Not a lot of change probably, but maybe a little bit better system for the cornerback that the Browns ended up with, being able to do some more man stuff. We'll see.
Yeah.
What else happened?
Oh, well, your Indianapolis Colts added a defensive player.
Okay. I just a defensive player. That's right. Okay, I thought you were going kicker on me.
Oh, did they add a kicker too? Oh,
they
okay.
did. Yeah, Michael Badgley, who we had before. If you remember Michael Badgley, he didn't play last year, but when he was with us, he was really good. And I remember like there was competition, and he either had only missed 1 kick ever or hadn't missed any. I think he missed 1. And I'm like, man, I hate to let him go. But then the guy we ended up with was, Spencer Schrader was great. I'm going to get into that when I talk about the game from last time. So I'll hold there. But yeah, so who did we get on defense?
They signed Jermaine Pratt.
Of course we did. That guy.
So he was a really good linebacker with Lou Anarumo in his system, except last year he kind of looked a little bit washed. He was getting into the backfield, and in the games that I was watching pretty closely, he just wasn't really hustling to make the tackle once he got into the backfield, or was kind of lackadaisically making plays, trying to make plays, and kind of just doing the bare minimum. But he has been good in his career, and that you could maybe just toss that up to, oh, it was the end of last season when everything was going wrong for the Bengals defense. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of players on the defense just kind of threw their hands up in the air and gave up. And Pratt was just one of those guys. But he also played for the Raiders and did not make the trip out to Indianapolis. He's making a separate trip out to Indianapolis now to join the team. And the team never clarified if that was just Jermaine Pratt refusing to go to Indianapolis, or if that was a team decision. I assume it was a team decision, but he was active, he was healthy, and they just didn't bring him along. So I'm not sure how good that situation will be for the Colts with Jermaine Pratt, but he's a guy that at least has been able to run fit in the past and can help against the run. I'm not sure how good or bad the Colts have been defensively against the run this season. You can probably speak more to that, but he could help if he still has the skill and then the desire that he showed in his first few years in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. My guess is he's another body for when the attrition starts. When bodies start going down, you're like, man, we need somebody to put in here. This guy knows Lou's system. Put him in there, and maybe he can make a little bit of resurgence and prove. Maybe in his mind, he's like, I did kind of throw my hands up a little bit, and I need to like show people that's not me. So, I don't expect he's going to become a huge star, but I wouldn't be against it.
How does it feel now to have two players from the defense that was tried last year as being very, very subpar throughout the course of the season?
Well, the first one was the one who took over for Kenny Moore, right? The nickel corner. I thought that was just because, again, familiar with. Now, did he play this last week? Is that Lemons or whatever?
Mike Hilton. Yeah, I believe I saw him make a couple of plays. Yeah.
That wasn't who I was thinking. They brought another guy in. I thought they said he was like doing a lot of nickel lemons. Something. Anyway.
Mekhi Blackman is the other guy, but he played on the outside for a lot of this last game after getting burned in the slot.
Yeah.
Early.
Yeah. What I was thinking was whoever it was didn't really do great in the slot. Maybe it was when he was getting burned. So I really want Kenny Moore to get back healthy. And I don't know exactly where he's at on that trajectory. I heard he's coming along. Somebody else was coming back. We got some people on injuries that I was glad Leatu Latu was back. He actually was at this last game where he got the tipped interception.
Yeah. He got in this one against the Raiders.
So it was his second interception.
Yeah.
So I'm glad he's back. And Travarius Ward came back. There was Jalen Jones. We need Jalen Jones to come back. Cornerback. We had some cornerbacks go out. We had like what I thought was like a really good looking defense, and then we've had some injuries with some of those cornerbacks. Our secondary was like really looking strong, and because of those injuries, they've plugged and done what they need to, and their offense is clicking right now. They're scoring. Yeah. So, but I don't think their defense has looked bad in these games. So I would love to get back the guys who are the starters. But it's good to have these bodies who know stuff. Am I excited about having two guys from that defense? No, not really. But if they're familiar and they can just kind of help us ride through till our guys get back, maybe they're the best choice we have. There's probably not just dudes sitting out there who are awesome.
At least if it keeps trending in this direction, that means Trey Hendrickson will be a Colt by the trade deadline.
That I could get behind. Although I don't know if we can pay him as much as he wants. Because I was looking after Daniel Jones started so well. I'm like, okay, what's the Colts cap next year? Okay, about 53, I think it was, something like that. And Daniel Jones is going to need extended. That's going to happen. Jonathan Taylor, I think, is coming to a time of extension again. Michael Pittman, I looked. There was like 6 or 7 of our big guys that were going to need it, and I'm like, ooh, how are we going to do this? I'm like, well, this is a good problem to have. Like good players, so good that you're having a hard time extending. Instead of just like, here's bad players, let's just give them extensions because we don't have anybody else. So I would rather have that. You hate to see anybody that is doing a good job go, but I used to say I'll trust Ballard in this, and then my trust for Ballard was going down the drain. I stuck with Ballard a lot longer than a lot of Colts fans. There were a lot of Colts fans calling for Ballard's head, last couple years, but as we were heading into this year, I was starting to be part of the, do I trust Ballard? I don't know. Right now, there's no talk of Ballard. And he's
Yeah.
doing a good job of not getting up and becoming a face at all. He's just letting himself recede out of people's minds and memories. And all they're thinking is, we're great. We're number one seed in the AFC. I've seen on some polls, which is just
Yeah.
ridiculous. I just want to say, remember what I was saying about this season when we started, and I don't want to hear anything from Brandon Harris. I was like, we're going to be the worst team. I hate us and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, Chris Ballard is enjoying some. If this continues to go, he probably nobody's mad at Shane Steichen right now. And Shane Steichen was
Right.
also looking hot seated
Yeah.
when the season started. Right now, if things ended now, or if things continue to go this way, we get to the playoffs and win a game, I think Shane Steichen's back. I think Chris Ballard may be back. And let me tell you, at the end of this last year, going into this year, that did not look like the case at all. I was almost convinced that we were going to have a bad season, and with the new ownership, Ballard and Steichen were going to be gone, and we were going to be blowing things up and starting over. I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, and not only might he be back, Shane Steichen, if they continue to do that, he might be the coach of the year if they continue on this track. If he's the guy that fixed Daniel Jones and made him look like something that Brian Dable, who's, big pet project was Josh Allen for the first few years of his career. If Dable wasn't able to fix Daniel Jones and Shane Steichen was able to, I mean, that certainly puts you up the list a little bit.
Here's the thing.
Front
I think
runners.
it's like dating and marriage. Some people just click.
Yeah.
And I do think that Daniel Jones and Shane Steichen seem to click mind-wise, like the way they think about the game. They do seem to click. More than Anthony Richardson clicked with Shane Steichen, more than I don't even know who else was all here. All those old guys who were here, Carson Wentz, and I think he liked Philip. Well, he wasn't here for Philip Rivers, was he?
No, he drafted Anthony Richardson, so it's been Richardson,
you're right.
Minshew,
So it's only been
Flacco,
Richardson and Minshew. Oh, and Flacco, yeah.
Flacco, yep.
And I don't feel like he ever felt like he was on the same page with those three. Maybe a little bit more with Minshew than the other two, but I feel like he totally clicks, and it's like a little marriage between him and Daniel Jones. I just want to point out to everybody again, I've always hated Daniel Jones from the time I heard his face, saw his face, heard his name. I could never keep him straight from Drew Lock when they first came out, because I just thought both of those were I didn't like either one of those quarterbacks. And when the possibility for him to come to Indy came up, I was so against it. I am starting to rethink things.
Yes.
His eyes are too close together, but he is a pretty good quarterback. Eyes wherever they are. So
he's been looking good. He's finally starting to take those next steps. A couple of injury notes. Antonio Gibson, who has been the second string running back for the New England Patriots, he tore his ACL. He's done for the year. Should get some more touches, you'd think, for Travion Henderson, but despite both Gibson and Ramondre Stevenson fumbling every other carry, Henderson has not really broken into that Patriots backfield as much as I think a lot of people during preseason and training camp thought that he would. They thought he would potentially be the number one running back. But we'll see if that just gives more to Stevenson, or if if he finally starts to take what Antonio Gibson was eating in that backfield share. And then Omarion Hampton, rookie running back, is the Chargers running back. They've already lost Najee Harris for the season. Omarion Hampton is on IR, designated to return, but he'll miss at least 4 games. So they are on to running back number 3. They're on a completely broken offensive line. And Justin Herbert is basically, Spider-Man in Spider-Man 2, trying to stop the train, web slinging his webs against the buildings to try and stop it, to hold everything together. That's what Justin Herbert is at this point for that Chargers offense.
Yeah, he's got that train pressing against his back, and it's stretching all his ligaments. He's like,
some fines to talk about. Jerry Jones was fined $250,000 for putting his middle finger up at a fan.
My favorite is when he said, "I didn't mean to do that." Whoops!
Totally,
how did that happen?
Totally a mistake. So he did it to a New York fan. So I did the math here, and I think this might be the reason why the Cowboys didn't want to afford Micah Parsons. So with the $188 million that Jerry Jones has saved on Micah Parsons, he can afford now approximately 751 more middle fingers for the next 4 years, which is the length of Parsons' contract. If you want to do even more math, he's a little bit behind pace right now because he can do 9.3875 middle fingers per game.
Per game.
He's banking them right now, but that money saved is being put to use for Jerry's vanity and ego.
That 0.75 is when he just starts to do it, but then lowers it just before it gets all the way up.
with another Cheshire cat grin on him.
Yeah, old Jerry Jones.
Jonathan Gannon was fined for going after by the Arizona Cardinals for going after one of his players after he dropped the ball before the goal line, which we'll talk about a little bit later on.
Who in the world would ever do such a thing?
It just keeps
Colts
happening.
Players, right?
So Jonathan Gannon went after him. The sidelines caught a pretty visceral confrontation between the two of them, and the NFL didn't give him any discipline, but the Arizona Cardinals did, and he came out and during his first press conference said that he was definitely in the wrong, apologized. He had already apologized to the running back, and kind of has started to take the next steps to mending that relationship. And then finally, Mark Sanchez, news on him it's the last thing for me is that he was on Sunday. Reports start coming out that Mark Sanchez had been stabbed on Saturday
what in
night.
The world, those crazy Indianapolis fans.
Yes, because whatever. He is the former Jets quarterback that is now a color commentator broadcaster, was scheduled to be on the Colts Raiders broadcast that day, and it turns out that he was the agitator.
I like aggregator. He aggregated the whole thing.
the agitator in this instance. He was, I guess, inebriated and doing allegedly inebriated, doing wind sprints in an alleyway.
Didn't like that dude being parked there. And you're not supposed to park here, man. You're 70. You should know this.
And the guy who has hearing aids, the truck driver that didn't have the best hearing, gets surprised by Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez attacks him, and the pictures of it wasn't just push against the wall. The pictures of the person he attacked are he's got this black eye, he's got some bruises around his chest. It's pretty Mark Sanchez did not hold back. And so the truck driver said that he feared for his life. And so he stabbed Mark Sanchez, and Mark Sanchez now is facing some felony charges. He probably won't be on any more Fox broadcasts and might be spending some time in prison. But
crazy story. Because when it came out, everybody's like, "Oh, our prayers for Mark Sanchez. I hope he's okay. What's going on with these?" Then you find out more of the story. It's what in the world? Who are you, Mark? Yeah. Mark Sanchez. Now, Mark Sanchez is the one that Rex Ryan has the tattoo of, right?
Oh, maybe. Yeah. I mean, he was the quarterback that got the Jets. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Speaking of,
there goes my fantasy football championship trophy.
It just couldn't handle this talk. It fell off. Yeah, he was. I think Rex Ryan had I believe I should know this. I think he got a tattoo of Mark Sanchez. So,
yeah,
wonder what
it certainly sounds
that.
like something that Rex Ryan would do. But yeah, so that's all the news that I have. I don't know if you have anything further before we head into the rewind.
The one injury report you did not is Spencer Schrader, the Colts kicker, has several torn ligaments in his leg.
Okay,
so we'll get to that a little bit in the. Remind me if I don't say anything about that in the game. But yeah, let's go ahead and I was going to have my. Yeah, here we go. Go ahead and do our rewind. Go back and look at the week's games that just happened. Talk about what they were. We'll also look at our picks from last week. You're gonna love this, everybody. It's a good one. But we start the week on Thursday with San Francisco and the Los Angeles Rams. I believe both of us picked the Los Angeles Rams to win that one, didn't we? We were
Yeah.
both wrong. Luckily, that did not go against my score and contested, but this was one of the many that I got wrong this week. Los Angeles Rams lost to San Francisco, and I know San Francisco was sitting at 3-1. Right now they're at 4-1.
Yeah.
But I just didn't feel like they were truly that team. I felt like it was like kind of fluky. Man, it surprised me. I watched that game and I just couldn't believe how badly the Rams let that go. And San Francisco did win. And so I don't know, is San Francisco real? With whatever team happens to be out there, they're they're doing it.
Yeah. Thursday nights are weird. But it looked good. Mac Jones looked good. And Brock Purdy might be out for a couple more weeks. So perhaps Mac Jones just like eventually takes over if he continues to perform this way. But I was just as surprised. I think all three of us picked the Rams to win that game. And I
Yeah.
don't think we gave it much of a second thought, despite the 49ers being 3-1.
Yeah.
It's a credit to Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh for really working through a lot of these injuries. Not only is it Brock Purdy, but I think that Ricky Pearsall was out for this one. Juwan Jennings, I don't know if he played, but he might have been banged up. Like you were relying on Kendrick Bourne, I think, to be like your top receiver. And Mac Jones was just firing bullets all over the place. And it's kind of I think our first upset of a multifaceted upset weekend that we had in the NFL during week 5. So the one thing that I think we forgot is that for whatever reason, Kyle Shanahan just seems to own Sean McVay. I think he's only lost to him once in the regular season and then once in the playoffs, but he just continues. If it's the Hatfield and McCoys with those offensive schemes, philosophies, butting heads against one another, there's that friendly rivalry in the NFL. The Shanahan beats the McVay tree in this case.
Yeah. And now San Francisco is one of the 6 4-1 teams that are in the NFL. So maybe I've just got to start taking seriously that it doesn't matter who is out there on the field. They're going to somehow find a way to barely win over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. We went on then to Sunday. And so we had an early morning game, right? This was one of those across the pond games, Minnesota versus Cleveland. This was the first place we had our contentions, our different picks. I think I said the Browns were going to be too defensive over the pond for Carson Wentz. He was going to be running for his life and it was going to be ugly. Vikings win this one. Josh gets it correct. I get it incorrect. You're going to notice a theme start to happen as we go through this. But what do you think of that one, Josh? I'm sure you were watched. Did you watch this one live?
Oh yeah. Yep. Wake up in Arizona right now. It's a 6:30 kickoff, 6:30 a.m. So wake up at that time to get it started. And
that doesn't even feel like football time. Wake up at 6:30, have your cup of coffee and sit down and watch football.
I had a brief period of my life where I was a Premier League soccer fan. I kind of followed a little bit, but in those instances, you have to wake up early. So I was kind of used to that. And so it kind of went back to those days a little bit. But the Vikings win 21-17 over the Cleveland Browns. The Vikings, Christian Darrisaw played at left tackle, but he was on a snap count. He only played 40 snaps and then they removed him from the game. You'd think maybe, let's put the 40 snaps during crunch time when we need our left tackle to go up against this Browns defensive line. But they wasted the 40 snaps through the first 2.5 quarters of this game, which means we were on our backup left tackle, Justin School. We already have our left guard out until after the bye week. So we were on a backup left guard, undrafted rookie named Joe Huber. A center that had never played center before because both Ryan Kelly and our backup center were out for this game. So we're on our third string center who had never played that position before. And our right guard was Wolf Rise. So we had that in place and he played well. And our right tackle, he was originally Justin School, but when Darrisaw went out of the game, he had to go over to the left tackle. So we were on to our third string right tackle because our starter is also out, Brian O'Neill. And of course, going up against that Cleveland Browns defensive line, you would think, it must have been an onslaught. Vikings for inexplicably give up their lowest pressure rate of the season,
It
22%.
made no sense. No
Yeah.
sense at all. You're looking at that offensive line, and it's like you said, you just thought there was going to be blood all over the field, but no, no.
And I think it's a credit to a little bit to Kevin O'Connell and Carson Wentz and what they designed, and also I think a little bit of blame goes to this Browns defensive scheme because they didn't really present any exotic coverages to mess with Carson Wentz to make him think for an extra second. It was pretty much cover one man coverage throughout the course of this game, and never really disguising that cover one coverage. So right away, you knew if you're Carson Wentz that only one of your guys has to win off of their route. And a lot of times when you have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and Adam Thielen and TJ Hawkinson, one of those guys is going to win. So even though Carson Wentz can only read one side of the field, he looked at that receiver, got the ball out quick. We talked about how Aaron Rodgers last week had like a 2.17 second time to throw, snap to release. That's how long. This was for Carson Wentz, I think a 2.5, which is still pretty good, pretty quick, which we hadn't seen a lot throughout not only the season, but Carson Wentz's career. He's been a guy that holds on to the ball a little bit to try and make things happen deeper downfield. O'Connell drilled it into his head this week that we're not going to be able to let that happen because of our offensive line. And also because we're only going to have 3, even sometimes 2 receivers running routes right away because they were bringing in max protect every single time. So the running back was staying in to block anything that came up the middle. The tight ends, a lot of times they'd have one tight end on one side, another tight end on the other, just chipping Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett only had like a 5% pressure rate, which was one of the lowest in his career. And he was going up against some pretty bad offensive linemen for the Minnesota Vikings. But I think it's because the
maybe
chip
he was just out of sorts. Maybe it was being out of sorts over, across the world, different time. His body was not doing what it was supposed to.
It definitely could be
chalk it up to.
Right. It has to be the jet lag because, I mean, the Vikings were in Dublin, so they have kind of caught up to it maybe a little bit, and aren't dealing with the effects of jet lag as much in that game. So they're chipping with TJ Hawkinson and Josh Oliver, the tight ends. So you have basically 8 guys protecting on every single play from the get-go. And that means they're not getting out into their routes right away. They eventually do get out into their routes, but like at that point, the timing can always be a little bit off, and you're only going to those players if nothing else is available to you. But thankfully, the Browns were playing man coverage against 2 of the best route runners in the NFL, and those routes were available to the Vikings kind of all day. Carson Wentz didn't really have to do too much. I think it was the best he's looked in a Vikings uniform through 3 games. I still don't think it was this otherworldly performance, especially the last drive. The Browns had started to go to some zone in the second half, and that kind of slowed the Vikings down a little bit because Carson Wentz was kind of questioning what he was seeing. On the last drive, when the Vikings were down 17-14 in the fourth quarter, Carson Wentz just took whatever was the first thing to pop up underneath. And a lot of time it was just check down, check down, check down, and his guys getting open against whatever zone or man that Cleveland had mixed it up into being at that point. And then he hits Jordan Addison on this quick 3-step drop fade touchdown to the corner. Jordan Addison, who missed the first quarter of this game, by the way, because he had missed walkthroughs and was being punished by the team. There's some tension, I think, between Jordan Addison and the Vikings because not only he was suspended for 3 games at the beginning of the season by the NFL because he had been, I guess it wasn't. They didn't convict him with the drunk driving charge, but he was found sleeping on the side of a freeway in his car in a lane of traffic and inebriated. So they couldn't prove that he drove there, but they proved that his car.
It's
that
crazy
he was there.
how he got there with the car and drunk.
Yes. So he had, and that was, by the way, that was like a week after a rookie teammate of his was killed by a drunk driver. So it was like not good timing there either. So he had been suspended. His rookie season, he had like a 127 mile per hour speeding ticket that he got because he apparently he said his dog was very, very sick and he needed to bring them to the hospital. So
they need to take his kind of away.
He's a good wide receiver, but he is on thin ice right now.
They just need to give him a chauffeur and just say, you cannot drive.
and get him to team walkthroughs on time now. So
Chauffeur would help that.
yes. So he can just like handcuff him to the limo basically and only let him go for those instances. But anyway, the defense for the Vikings, defensive backs continue to look really, really good. Defensive line still getting pushed back in the run game. The Browns were really able to establish the run a lot. Kinshawn Judkins looked really good. He was breaking tackles left and right. But that is kind of a concern for the Vikings moving forward, is how they're going to do against teams that can really run the ball. And they play teams that can really run the ball, like the Eagles, Lions twice, still the Packers. So it's concerning right now for the Vikings defense at that end. Despite that, they still have, even though they're very bad against the run, they're very good against the pass. And they have the highest EPA against the pass by like a wide margin that has led them to still being the highest EPA defense in the league.
I have a theory, and I don't think you're going to like it. The theory is this. I think Kevin O'Connell everyone will come to realize that he is the reclamation quarterback whisperer, right?
Yes.
What if it wasn't just Sam Darnold? What if Daniel Jones got his whisper when he was sitting on the bench and he came to Indy, but it's Kevin O'Connell that did what he did for Daniel Jones, not Shane Steichen. What if Carson Wentz becomes that? And what if we realize that J.J. McCarthy is never going to be good with him until he leaves and is almost trashed by the NFL and then comes back? I think that's what we might be looking at here. Kevin O'Connell,
very sad.
the reclamation quarterback whisperer. That's going to be my new name for him, because it just seems like he takes these guys that you're just not sure are going to be any good, and then they are. I'm lumping Daniel Jones in there. I'm saying whatever he picked up there mattered.
He was not able to fix Josh Dobbs or Nick Mullins enough. And I still am not sure if he's fixed Carson Wentz. I think he's just working around Carson Wentz. I am excited to see J.J. McCarthy get back onto this team.
Until he does horribly. Until he does horribly.
After the bye. We're hoping that doesn't. He'll be the first time he'll be able to throw to Jordan Addison if he doesn't get in trouble again. And
big if.
Big if. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him back there, because I think that is what this season is about. I think maybe Carson Wentz can get you a wild card spot in the playoffs at like 10-7, but you're not going to keep Carson Wentz around for the next season, and he's not going to give you the ceiling of a team that can make noise in the playoffs.
So just a quick prediction here. Don't have to go into a lot of detail. Who will have the most jerseys, Joe Flacco or Carson Wentz? Be real. Be real.
Wentz still has, some time. So I think it's going to be Carson
plenty
Wentz.
Of teams.
I think he might already be equalized with Joe Flacco. So yeah, I think Carson Wentz, I think the conversation could be between him and that backup quarterback that goes Josh Johnson, that has been in the league since like 2009 and then randomly goes to every single team. I think he's at like 15 teams that he's played for.
And I don't even know who he is.
Yeah, no, he got drafted in like 2009, like just a year after Joe Flacco, and has been around the NFL. When Brock Purdy got injured in that NFC Championship game, Josh Johnson was his backup quarterback against the Eagles, and then he got injured, and then they had literally nobody able to throw the football.
Yes. All right, so let's look at this. First game, we got wrong, right? San Francisco beat the Rams. Second game, I got wrong, right? Minnesota beat Cleveland. Let's see if we get any better with the third game. Oh, dang it. I got it wrong. So did you. Baltimore was thrashed by the Houston Texans. I think we thought they would come back. I think. Oh no, you got it right.
I had Houston. Yeah.
I got it wrong. I thought Baltimore would be like, guys, we got to draw a line in the sand and show people we are a good team. Now they didn't have Lamar, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I should have weighed that more. Who was their quarterback?
Cooper Rush.
Oh yeah, Cooper Rush, who was Dallas before. But he came in and did some magic in Dallas when he first came in. I thought, could that happen? You know what? Forget it. I think Baltimore is toast, because Lamar's not back. They're just not looking good on defense. Now, granted, Houston may have been ready to come back and say, hey, we're still here too. I still think they have troubles with their offensive line, but they didn't look too bad against that defense. And so it makes you begin to wonder, are the Ravens just more than, have they been like pumped up a little more than they are? And I think that might be the case. Houston 44, Baltimore 10.
Yeah, their individual players, the sum of their parts, they're not as good as the sum of their part. I don't know how that's saying, but I'm trying to say that they have, you'd think, really good players, but together, for whatever reason, on defense, they're not meshing well right now. And it was by far the best game that CJ Stroud has had this season, and perhaps since the beginning of last year, even, where he was just throwing dimes all over the place and looked like he did in his rookie year. And I don't know if that's just a credit to how poor the Ravens defense is at this point. We're definitely taking a step back and trying to reanalyze whether this team really has what we thought. Like, you'd think Kyle Hamilton, you think the rookie Malachi Starks, you'd think, and I know a lot of these guys have been injured, like Matabuke, who will miss the rest of the season. Van Noy was back after an injury. This was his first game, but he wasn't getting pressure. Kyle Van Noy, who looked really good before his injury, was not getting any pressure against a bad Houston Texans offensive line. It is concerning right now, and I agree. It reminds me of the Cowboys from last year, where we thought, okay, their defense is going to be good, their offensive line, but their offense still should be good enough. And then the defense just crumbled and has stayed crumbling into this year. And they also lost their starting quarterback and had to turn to Cooper Rush. So a lot of similarities between those two teams. And I think it might be too much to overcome even when Lamar Jackson comes back. I mean, you're 1-4 right now. And granted, you still get to play the Steelers twice. So if you win those games, you suddenly make it a contest. And you still get to play a bad Bengals team 2 more times and a bad Browns team. But the Steelers will also get to play those Bengals and Browns teams as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a game of catch up for sure at this point. But Houston trying to stay relevant in the AFC South, where we've got two teams who are kind of fighting for the top, and Houston's like, we were supposed to be the favorites. So we'll see what they can do. So I've been wrong with every game so far. Surely I can get one now. And yes, I finally got one. I think Carolina versus Miami. I picked Carolina. You picked Carolina also, right?
When I was listening back, I had us both with Miami.
Dang. I didn't pick Carolina. So you're right. Here we are. 4 games in, 4 games wrong for me. Miami.
Yeah. The Miami Dolphins, they looked good early. They were up 17-0. And then it all fell apart. They, for whatever reason, I thought the defensive line was going to be the only strength on defense for this team, but they gave up over 200 yards rushing to Carolina's backup, Rico Dowdle, who granted wasn't a 1,000-yard rusher behind a bad offensive line in Dallas last year, but hadn't got much time behind Chuba Hubbard, which makes me kind of question Dave Canales, because I thought going into the year this was going to be a really good 2-headed backfield, maybe not a premier player for either of those running backs, but both guys that can certainly get you some good yards. And Rico Dowdle kind of showed that was the case, and he just wasn't getting any run. But the Carolina Panthers, they come back and they go up 20-17. The Dolphins score a touchdown, and then the Panthers score another touchdown late to win that game. Bryce Young had a bad start to this game. It seems like we're saying this every single week and every single season. He has a bad start to every game. He has a bad start to every season, and then picks it up. And then he had one of the best throws that I think we're going to see this year to Xavier Legette into the end zone, where he has more anticipation than I think I've ever seen on this throw. It's Legette is 2 steps into his route. He's at the 5-yard line, and Young throws not like a complete laser, but not also like a fade ball to the back of the end zone. It's kind of like a little bit of a float ball to the back of the end zone, 15 yards away from where Legette is at the time of the release. And the cornerback is right up against Legette throughout the course of this route. And it's like the James McAvoy movie Wanted, where you can curve the bullets. It looks like the bullet curves around the back of the defender, and like Legette has a magnet in his hands. It goes right to him. And it was just like an incredible throw that is like, wow, okay, Bryce Young can do that. Let's see that a little bit more often with that anticipation. We haven't seen that on a consistent enough basis just yet with him. But if he can start to get those throws, suddenly a 2-3 Carolina Panthers team can look a little bit more scary. And the run defense, which had been bad all of last year and up to this year, holds the Miami Dolphins to I think 20 yards on the ground. Like Devon Achane did not have a good game rushing the football. So perhaps taking some next steps. I'm not completely sure yet with the Carolina Panthers. They've kind of been an enigma this season.
It's always hard to tell when you play a team like Miami. Are we good, or do they just make us look good? But they got their second win, and Miami, again, remember I made a bold prediction at the beginning of this year that week 8 is where Mike McDonald will be let go. We're getting close to that, so I'm getting a little antsy because I haven't heard any talk like that happening. So come on, get on the ball, Miami. Start thinking about letting him go. We go to the next game. Next game is Indy, Las Vegas. This was a pure thrashing from the beginning. Those last 3 points that came up to make 6 for Las Vegas came very much at the end, and when things were just kind of being let go. Backups were in for Indianapolis, but Indianapolis did what they needed to do here. Now, I want to say this. If you watch this one, it was infuriating to me that, so Spencer Schrader, he goes to kick, and the guy hits his plant leg, obviously rips all the ligaments in it. So it was a hit. They throw the flag. Everybody's like, oh, you can't do that. But then they say when the flag is thrown, Indianapolis elects to add this to the end of the kickoff, or put the penalty at the end of the kickoff. Well, we have who is it? Who's our Rigoberto Sanchez? Our punter.
Yep.
So he goes to punt it. He is no good. It goes out of bounds. They're like, oh, that the two commentators like, that's horrible, man. They're going to get great field position, 40-yard line. Okay, it's going for. Oh no, the refs are picking it up and moving it back. What are they doing? The Colts are getting away with something here. They're moving it back 15 yards. I don't understand. What in the world is going on? They're not explaining. They're not giving us any explanation. Oh, they're snapping the ball. I have no idea. The Colts got away with one there, and it's like, you idiots. Did you not just see the guy get his leg obliterated? The whole thing about the Colts are going to have this after the kickoff. They never did come back and say they understood why that 15-yard penalty. They kept going by like, I don't know how the Colts got one there, but boy, that could have, I don't know, the refs are blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you guys, I can't call you to tell you you're bad commentators. You should know. I mean, all of us sitting around our TV are like, remember what just happened? Yeah. The kickoff went to the 40, but then there's the 15-yard penalty added to that. Do you not remember? They never did acknowledge that. I was like so frustrated. I just wanted to be able to text them and say, idiots. I don't even know who the two people were who were calling that game.
Not Mark Sanchez.
Not. And maybe it was a backup to Mark because he didn't.
It was Brady Quinn was like the last second because I guess he was at Notre Dame and lives in Indiana. So it's like, hey, can you get over here?
Well, that's not good for Brady Quinn because those two guys were clueless. And they just, anyway, Indianapolis looking good. Jonathan Taylor got another 3-touchdown game. He's going to be hard to beat as a running back this year, I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones looked good. I believe A.D. Mitchell did not play. Am I right? Like that.
I did not see much from AD. I don't think I saw anything from AD Mitchell when I was watching the condensed replay.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I feel like it was talked about. I was just busy watching. I was trying not to listen to those two commentators.
I remember seeing a lot of Ashton Doolin where I think AD Mitchell would have been.
And I think it was it Ashton Doolin that had the forever kickoff return for a touchdown that got called back again. Mm-hmm. Another one called back. We gotta work that out, whatever's going on there. But we still beat them 40-6. It wasn't like it was close, but you want to see that kind of stuff cleaned up because you are going to play teams that are harder. I just want to say too, we have a fan who is a Raiders fan, someone who watches the show. Ezra, I tried to give you the benefit of the doubt at the beginning of this year and saying, I believe that the Raiders may be something. They may look better with Pete Carroll and Geno Smith. They know each other and they got these other weapons. They did not. Max Crosby, got lots of airtime during that game. And they're like, oh, he's always on the go. He never takes it. He's always competitive. But then, like, the longer it goes, and like we just keep marching down the field and doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
You have to, even as a Raiders fan, be like shaking your head. And I know Max Crosby had to be like hating his life because he really was trying and he really was out there working. But the rest of that team is just not enough. They just don't have. They don't have enough, and I have a feeling they're going to have a rough year going forward, unless something big changes. Right now, Geno Smith is not the quarterback, and that team doesn't have a good offensive line, a good defensive line. They're struggling, and so this was a good win for the Colts. Felt great. Love everything that happened in it, and I am starting to be won over by Daniel Jones. I told you when we got to game 5. Was this game 5? This was game 5.
It was game 5.
Yeah. And I was hoping it would be a 5-0 that would have to convince me. But I really do feel like we could have beat the Rams if we hadn't shot ourselves in the foot twice with touchdowns being called back. Regardless, I'm not saying every team has a stumble. That's okay. I think going forward, we got the Cardinals this week, and we got I feel like it's a beatable team the week after that. And then we come up against Pittsburgh, maybe, which will be a test. I feel like the Colts could go further than I expected, a lot further than I expected this year. And right now, we're fighting to be number 1 in that division. Unfortunately, we got a Jags team that just won't let go and have a little. We'll get to the Jags game. Good game for the Colts. Enjoyed every bit of it. Everybody looks to be clicking right now.
Yeah, Geno Smith is just not the same guy that he was in Seattle. He looks more like Jets Geno Smith, where
he does.
It's continuing to turn the ball over. So that's certainly, like, I think, a little bit unexpected from the Raiders this season.
Yeah. So sorry, Ezra, that your team is going to be so bad again. But maybe next year you'll get a quarterback. Be so high in the draft, right? Let's move on. So I've had one game right out of, what is this, 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One game right. Let's see if I can keep it going. I said the New York Giants are going to beat New Orleans because they're just the worst team. Oh, wait a minute. That didn't work out, did it? So I've only so far gotten one team right, but you know what? One game right, but it was the Colts game. So it makes it all okay for me. But New York Giants, we both said are going to beat New Orleans because, they have a strong defensive line that's coming together. Jackson Dart's in there and going to change the world now. And New Orleans is so horrible. What in the world happened here? 26-14, New Orleans wins.
Yeah, and I think we are seeing perhaps the next starting quarterback in New Orleans, which kind of puts a damper on my Nussmeier family dynasty.
They didn't
prophecy.
Work it out well enough, yeah.
Yeah, well, and unfortunately, Garrett Nussmeier also not holding up his end of the bargain right there, where he looks kind of just like, not great at LSU. So Spencer Rattler was pressured more than any other quarterback in the NFL in this game. The Giants pass rush was getting to him at an over 50% rate, according to the Next Gen stats. And yet Rattler was still making good throws throughout. And that was kind of the problem with Rattler when he was at Oklahoma, when he was at South Carolina, and early last year with the New Orleans Saints. Is anytime there was pressure, he was very quick to vacate the pocket and just run with the football and not be able to get his full amount of power to deliver the football by stepping up into the pocket. It's been completely different this year, where the pressure, he is feeling the pressure a lot more naturally, and he has always had the arm talent. The question was, could he put it all together? And he might be starting to put it all together a little bit. I don't know if it's like, and I'm not just saying this because his father threatened me on social media and lives in the Phoenix area. I'm saying this because coming out of that 2024 draft, 2024 draft, I thought he had the best arm talent of any quarterback. Like, he throws the prettiest ball. He's just undersized and shies away from being hit. Against the Giants, he carved him up. Jackson Dart didn't look too bad for New York. He did have to suffer through a couple of his receivers fumbling the ball, but he was not like a game changer. And New Orleans also was a lot more wary about keeping in a linebacker to spy him whenever he would start to run, so he did not have the same rushing lanes that he did against the Los Angeles Chargers when the Giants won that game. But yeah, I like Spencer Rattler, and I mean Tyler Shuck might just be a backup quarterback and might find his way to a different team in the years to come, because Rattler might have it.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think your theory is out of the water. But you know what? At least we've gotten I have gotten one game correct. Let's see if I can get another. Dallas versus the Jets. I picked Dallas to win.
You did pick Dallas, yes.
I was going to say, I feel like I picked Dallas. I didn't have it written down here because the Jets seem like they always come up just a little short. Thank you, Jets, for giving me another correct pick this week because I didn't have a lot of them. But Dallas did beat the Jets. And of course, we already talked about what Jerry Jones thought about the Jets. What were your thoughts on this Jets game?
Yeah, Jets can't stop the run. Javonte Williams, really, really good game. He scores a touchdown in the final 2 minutes of the first half to, I think, put the Cowboys up like 13-3 or something at that point. And then they get the ball back after a defensive stop. They're way back there, and they're just like kind of content to run the football and let it go to halftime and get the ball back to start the second half. So they do run the football. They give it to Javonte Williams, and he breaks like 3 tackles and gets into the red zone for the New York Jets on like a 60-yard run. And that allows the Cowboys to score another quick touchdown and kind of put this game a little bit away early. There were some late touchdowns that the Jets scored, but those were mostly in garbage time. The Cowboys their offense is impressive. And their defense at least showed up a little bit more than they have in the past in this one.
I'm going to say I was one of those people who thought to myself, Justin Fields is probably going to make more of a difference with the Jets than people think. And I kept holding on to that because they kind of were close in some games. But you have to look back now and say, is Justin Fields really going to be the starting quarterback there? What is the biggest problem there? I mean, there's multiple. They're the Jets.
And they're the only winless team.
Jets. Go ahead. Oh yeah, they are the only winless team. That's the opposite of undefeated. Winless. I was earlier trying to think of that, and I'm like, totally defeated. The totally defeated team, and they do feel like a totally defeated team right now. They are the only 0-5 team in the league. They're the Jets. Denver, Philadelphia. Let's see. I picked Philadelphia, but our good friend Josh did pick Denver. This is the third out of 3 that we were contested on that Josh has got right and I have gotten wrong. I thought for sure Philly would take it to Denver. This was not a blowout, but Denver won.
It started out looking like an Eagles blowout because it was 17-3 in the third quarter. And I believe Next Gen Stats had it as it was the second lowest win probability. The team that won had the second lowest win probability of a winning team so far this season. I think probably the Bills against the Ravens would be the one that had the lowest win probability that team ended up winning. But like it was a little bit Bo Nix. It was a lot Sean Payton. Bo Nix made some good throws in the fourth quarter after being kind of pedestrian through the first 3 quarters of this game. And then Sean Payton decides when they score that what would be a game tying touchdown to go for 2. And they get it. They get it to Evan Ingram on the flat. It was a good throw from Bo Nix, and they go up by 1. That allows them to kick a field goal later on. And that field goal means that they're up by 4 now instead of 3, which means when the Eagles get to the 30-yard line with 5 seconds left in the game, they can't tie the game with a field goal. They have to go for a semi-Hail Mary. And it looks A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith were both in the same area. I'm not sure if this was planned, but it looked like almost A.J. Brown was lifting Devontae Smith up to try and catch it. On the last play of the game, it goes off of his hands, Devontae Smith's hands, falls incomplete. And the Broncos pull out a big upset against the Super Bowl champs, the first loss for Philadelphia this season.
I did not see Philadelphia losing, but that was one of our undefeated teams that are now defeated. There are no undefeated teams. We'll get to the other a little later, but Okay, surely the next game will redeem me because they're going against the Tennessee Titans. Surely I'm going to get that call right when the Cardinals beat the Tennessee Titans, because Tennessee Titans have been so horrible and they were a winless. Oh, dang it, Amari, what did you do? Let go of the ball early. Tennessee wins 22-21 over the Arizona Cardinals. Tennessee gets its first win, right? This is its first.
Yes, first win of the season. So they're also no longer winless. So that's why the Jets are the only one left, is because the Titans pull out like a miraculous comeback.
Was this New Orleans' first win also?
It was New Orleans' first win. So
So
yeah,
we had a few teams get off the snide there. Tennessee and New Orleans. I don't know if there were any more, but like not the Jets. All right. So Tennessee beats, and Cam Ward gets his first win.
It was like the Arizona Cardinals handing the Tennessee Titans the game.
Every way
Not
they
only
could.
because of that fumble. Yeah. So they're up 21-3 at one point. It's 21-6 at halftime. And in the second half, the Cardinals are in field goal range. And they just snap the ball and it goes right off of Kyler Murray's face. Just goes bonk, hits the turf. And
Bonk.
I think the Cardinals recovered it, but it was out of field goal range, so they had to punt, and they couldn't try and kick a field goal to go up 24-6, which would have been a 2-possession game. And then later on, or three-possession game instead of a 2-possession game. Later on in that game, they're still up 21-6. And like we said, DeMarcado, big touchdown run, and doesn't do the A.D. Mitchell thing where he's like accidentally trying to hold it up. He like did the thing that Deshaun Jackson did, and he just tries to throw it and look cool. And I still don't understand how in the year 2025, we still have players that can't wait an extra second to throw the ball out at the back of the end zone. I don't know why it has to be right at the goal line that they need to make this decision to drop the football. But let's like be a little bit safe. Like I know
Just
Jonathan
hold it.
Gannon. Yeah, Jonathan Gannon, I know he gets fined, but I would probably be, if I was that head coach, the same amount of angry. And I don't know how I would react if I was the head coach, because just hold on to the ball.
To be even-handed in this, Jonathan Taylor did this last year with the Colts, and man, the fan base was angry. Luckily, Jonathan Taylor's a good player. He learned from his mistake. He now holds the ball till he goes out of the back of the end zone.
Yes.
And but yeah, why what is the taunt in letting it go right at the line? What is the hey, I'm great about that? I do
Just
not
wait.
get it.
You can do it after you cross the goal line. And that wasn't even the final mistake that the Cardinals made, because it was still 21-6 at that point. The Titans do go down the field and score a touchdown. And then Titans go on another march after forcing a punt in the fourth quarter, down 21-13 at this point. And Cam Ward throws an interception. The player that makes the interception is a safety, Dadrion Taylor DeMarson, and he catches it, but because he had to leap up into the air and he's falling down after he catches it, but his 2 feet hit the ground, he has a third foot hit the ground, he's still tumbling, loses his footing, doesn't get touched, but when he loses his footing, the ball scoots out of his hands. It's on the turf. Max Melton has a chance to recover it. He kicks it towards the end zone. Thankfully, Baron Browning, another Cardinals player, is able to deflect it with his foot, kind of on accident. We're playing soccer now, but it goes right back to Max Melton, who kicks it a second time into the end zone. It gets past Baron Browning, and Tyler Lockett falls on it, and the Titans score a touchdown on just a comedy of errors from this Arizona Cardinals team. And then it's a game-winning field goal on the last drive at the last second. Cam Ward leads the drive and gets the Cardinals on top. Shell-shocked would be the word I would use to describe.
Did they miss the extra point on that touchdown? Because that ended it at 19, right? 19-21.
They were trying to go for the tie, so they didn't get the 2-point conversion.
Right,
yeah,
that's what it was. I couldn't remember, but I'm like, oh yeah, and then they had to go down and get a field goal, right?
So Kyler Murray was his first question was, how did this happen? And he's like, man, I don't know. Like, he just kept repeating that. It looked like he had just come back from World War I. And it was rough.
At any of those places in the game, if they would have scored one more point, or which can't really do that one, but like any point, they would have won.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Okay, let's move on here. Seattle, Tampa Bay. I wisely said Tampa Bay can't keep pulling this out at the last second. I think this week Seattle's going to beat Tampa Bay. Well, that didn't happen. Again, Matthew called it wrong. Now, this was a tough game, and Seattle didn't look bad in this game, even though they lost. But Tampa Bay did what Tampa Bay does. Baker Mayfield did what Baker Mayfield does. He drove him down the field at the last second for a field goal to win it 38-35. Tampa Bay wins.
Just really good quarterback play from both Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. They really matched each other throw for throw pretty much throughout the course of the game. And then Darnold, on his last drive with the game tied, has his pass at the line tipped and it gets intercepted. And that is what set up the game-winning field goal after Baker Mayfield had gone down the field to tie it with a touchdown with like a minute left to go in the game. So it was an entertaining game, one of the best games of the year, and it was just because Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, former teammates in Carolina, both reclamation projects, top 3 picks in the 2018 NFL draft, kind of a history with one another in that way. And they put it all on display for the football world on that Sunday, and just an excellent game.
It was a good game. Unfortunately, the next game, I just thought the Cincinnati Bengals were going to beat the. Oh wait, let's not be silly. We all picked the Lions to beat Cincinnati, and luckily, I got my 3rd correct pick out of 11 so far. Detroit 37, Bengals 24. There was like no doubt that was Detroit all the way. I mean, Bengals have 24 points in there, but that is even kind of a mirage of what it looked like.
3 interceptions from Jake Browning, just throwing the ball poorly. And I liked his candor after the game, because when he was talking to the reporters, he's just like, it's just bad. I can't escape from that. Like, I was trying to force the ball and I was making bad mistakes, and I can't do that. And I'm not going to be like, I almost kind of predicting his own demise. I'm not going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL if I continue to make these mistakes and continue to try and force these throws.
They said, forget continue. You're not going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Right. So like, surprisingly, like, one thing I noticed was the Bengals defensive line, which isn't great, kind of got some pressure and stopped the run a little bit at times against Detroit. Like, the defense as a whole wasn't perfect, but they were able to get some wins over the Lions, offensive line. And we saw the Packers also, do that same thing. So I am kind of keeping an eye on that as the Lions head to kind of a pivotal stretch of games over their next 5 games. They go up against the Chiefs, the Buccaneers, the Vikings, the Commanders, and the Eagles. All those teams have good defensive lines, and all of those teams are also pretty good on offense. And right now, the Lions have their number 1 cornerback, DJ Reed, on IR, designated to return, but he'll miss at least 4 of those games. Terrion Arnold got injured as well in this last game and is going to miss some time, although not as long as they originally thought. So he's their 2nd cornerback, and then they just put a 3rd cornerback. I don't think he was their number 3 guy, but one of their depth corners on IR yesterday as well. So they are losing guys in the secondary. They're losing guys on defense, just like they were last year. And that stretch of games coming up for them is going to be huge in deciding how far they can pull ahead in that NFC North race. Because right now they're only a half game ahead of the Packers and a game ahead of the Minnesota Vikings. So it is still a long way for that team to go, and only 2 games ahead of the Chicago Bears. So still a long way to go.
Tough division. And you do have to remember they had a lot of injuries last year, and they still kept it together. Let's see how that works this year. But hey, I'm feeling like I got my 3rd win. I'm going to get it from here. Washington and Chargers, man, the Chargers are going to come back from what they dealt with a week ago. They're going to beat Washington. We don't even know if Jaden Daniels is going to play. Oh, wait, Jaden Daniels does play. Oh, wait, Jaden Daniels makes the team look good again. Washington wins. I'm wrong again, but you're right. You picked Washington. I picked the Chargers. The Chargers lost. Washington won. And I'm going to say this. I watched this game, and I just felt like all I ever heard in this game was Krosky Merritt. Is that his name? Krosky Merritt?
Bill.
Man, that guy was doing it. He looked really good.
Yeah, he had a great day running the football. Yeah, he's the guy that just goes by Bill. And he kind of
Which
was
is good
behind on
because
the
it's
depth
hard to
chart.
remember that whole
Yes.
hyphenated last name. And, I kept hearing the announcers say the whole thing. And I kept remembering, man, it just seems like he never quits. And like
Yeah.
somehow he just keeps breaking through and just keeps going. And man,
And Justin Herbert is, again, like we said at the top of the show, he's doing everything that he can. He did have a kind of bad interception that turned the tide, I think, in this game at the goal line. I think they're up 10-0 or 10-3 at this point. Could have gone up by 2 possessions and really put the game away early. Instead, the Commanders scored the last 27 points of the game, and Jaden Daniels, who I
the
don't
last
think
27, all their 27.
yes. Jaden Daniels, who I think was a little bit slow to get going at the beginning of this year, obviously got the injury, and they had to turn to Marcus Mariota for a few games. I think he really put it back together in this game and looked like Jaden Daniels from his rookie season, especially after they fell into that early 10-0 deficit. He was really slinging it. He was running when needed, and obviously, like we have said, he had the help of Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt to really complement him well in that running attack.
Then you really missed an opportunity because, of course, Buffalo undefeated is going to beat New England, but you've been such a New England, like they're up and coming. But no, you stuck with me. We both said Buffalo is going to beat New England. What in the world happened in Buffalo, New England? Mike Vrabel goes in with his team. They beat Buffalo. Buffalo is no longer an undefeated team. That is the last of the undefeated teams right there. And that was when it went down. And so New England, they go in there and they make a statement. And this is, you're looking now at that division. There was a time where I'm like, Jets may give some pressure. Jets aren't giving any pressure. They're totally defeated, totally winless. The Dolphins should be totally defeated. I don't know how they got a win, but
because they got to play the Jets.
They got to play. What do you do? Something has to go. But they look as bad. But New England now pushing on pushing on Buffalo, and they win here. What I don't even know. What is the standings for that division? The Patriots are 3-2. They're only one game back from the 4-1 Bills. Do you see a change coming, or was this a fluke?
I mean, this is a Patriots team that very easily could be 4-1 if they just hold on to the football once against what team did they lose to in the team that they lost to the second in their second loss. Or the Steelers. Yeah, they lost to the Steelers and they turned the ball over 5 times and fumbled it like 3 times, twice at the goal line, and had an interception at the goal line. They're a team that could easily have been 4-1, and I think they are real. And I think we saw just in this game kind of the evolution of Drake May on display, where at the beginning of the game, Chris Collinsworth is saying, this is the difference. Like, these two quarterbacks are a lot alike. This is the difference, though, is that Drake May is going to take this sack, and Josh Allen is going to try to get rid of the football on a sack that the Patriots took on the first or second possession of the game. And then to the end of the game now, where we are seeing Drake May run away from pressure. And we saw Baker Mayfield do this last year against Nick Bosa and the 49ers, where he stiff arms the guy and tries to throw it to an open receiver. The Buccaneers lost that game that year. But right here, the Patriots, with Drake May stiff arming his defender as he's running away and also throwing the football to Stephon Diggs, that keeps the drive alive on their game-winning drive. And then a few plays later, it might have even been the next play. My favorite throw in football is that cover 2 hole shot where you beat the safety that's supposed to be on that half of the field to the point of attack just barely. It has to be perfectly timed. If it's too early, the corner can undercut it. If it's too late, the safety gets there. He gets a perfect throw to Kayshon Boutte and sets the Patriots up for that game-winning field goal. So Drake May really coming into his own. And I think this Patriots team is for real and might be, I mean, now that they've beaten the Bills, like, can really challenge the Bills for this AFC East crown. It was a good watch.
It was one I did not expect, but now it's something to watch going forward. They're only one game apart. They still have to play each other one more time, and we've got a whole slate of games between. So let's keep an eye there. But surely I can end this day with a win. Kansas City is definitely going to beat Jacksonville. No, they are not. I had to count on the Lions, who I can count on, but I had to count on Dallas to beat the Jets, which the only thing there was they were playing the Jets to get my 3 wins, because obviously I'm going to assume the Colts can beat the Raiders. But Kansas City comes out. Jacksonville. Well, first of all, Travis Hunter had himself one of his best looking days, and the last play of the game, kind of inexplicable how in the world that happened, but they won. Jacksonville now sitting at 4-1, right alongside the Colts, and KC is, what is KC's record? They only have 2 wins. Do they
2
have
and
2
3.
wins?
Yeah.
Man. I here was the hardest part for me in this. It's AFC South. You know, I don't want Jacksonville to tie up with Indy. I want to create some space in there. I hate Kansas City. There's that 99-yard pick six that happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like cheering and cheering and cheering. And I'm like, go, 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 go. Oh, yeah, that's a touchdown. Then I'm like, oh, wait, do I want that? I don't know that I want that. But it's just so hard to root for Kansas City, even when it's like, you know, causing my Colts more competition. It was a hard game to watch. Jacksonville wins it.
Yeah. And like a couple of takeaways, like Travis Hunter needs to be more involved in this offense. That catch that he made was incredible. And that's what he was doing at Colorado a lot of the time when he wasn't getting open. He had the highest contested catch rate in all of college football last year. And like contested catch rates, I think like on average are around like 30%. His was like at 65, 70%. So he's been making those acrobatic catches even when he's not getting open, which he can do a really good job at getting open. His body moves so fluidly. They really need to get him more involved with the offense. Maybe that means taking him off of defense a little bit. But he played both sides of the ball in this game. And then, that Trevor Lawrence obviously falls, runs around, kind of like, you know, that Limp Bizkit is probably playing in his head fittingly for him on that Jacksonville touchdown. That just seems like Jacksonville. That seems how Jacksonville would score a touchdown, is falling, stumbling, and then somehow finding your way into the end zone with your long, greasy hair. That's Florida.
I feel like I want the song to be the Tub Thumpers. I get knocked down, but I get up
That's
again.
True. That's true.
I think he didn't get knocked down, though. He just fell down.
Yeah.
Because he would have been knocked down, it would have been over. But he fell down, gets up, falls down, gets up, runs. And, of course, Chris Jones gets the backlash for just kind of standing there looking like, what's going on?
And then the turning point in this game, I thought, like when I was like, oh, okay, this Jaguars team might be for real, is what you mentioned, is that pick six, because I mean, it was a great play effort-wise by Devin Lloyd, but the scheme by their first year, Anthony Campanelli is their first year defensive coordinator, was fantastic. Patrick Mahomes looks over and thinks he sees cover zero and assumes that it's going to be man-to-man coverage all throughout and everybody is going to blitz. So he's already thinking, okay, I got to get rid of the ball quickly. So he checks to a play in which it's designed to have trips on one side of the field and bring the outside receiver underneath while the two inside receivers go to the outside or up to create some sort of traffic so that the cornerback playing the outside receiver has to run through that traffic and won't be able to get to the drag route in time. And if everybody is blitzing, if 7 players are blitzing, that should be an easy touchdown. It's a pretty like standard play. The Cardinals ran it against the Titans and Murray ran for a touchdown on it. The Vikings ran it against the Steelers a couple of weeks ago. And what you're also going to do is, in case that play doesn't get open, which is if the corners are playing man based on the release, which is the outside corners taking whoever goes to the outside first, inside corners taking whoever goes to the inside first. The guy that's going to the outside, Travis Kelce, is going to quickly turn back and trail that drag route defender. So if the inside guy follows the drag route, Kelce already has the inside leverage on that outside cornerback, and he will turn right in and follow him. The space is cleared. It's a touchdown there. However, the Jaguars ran what Bill Belichick and Nick Saban loved to run at their levels, which is a rain blitz, where you put 2 linebackers in the double A gap and you look to who the center is going to turn towards. If you're one of the linebackers and the center turn towards you to block you, you ditch out and go drop off into coverage, because that means he's not turning towards the other linebacker who now has a free run to the quarterback. So they do that in both the A gap and the B gap, where The center Creed Humphrey turns to Devin Lloyd. So Devin Lloyd drops back. The defensive tackle next to Devin Lloyd also drops back. And they still have a blitz coming. But now those guys are right there waiting to wall off any inside route, knowing that Mahomes is going to check to that inside route. And Devin Lloyd makes the interception. It was schemed up perfectly. He read his eyes perfectly. And then he just goes full effort down the sideline for a 99-yard touchdown. Like, we are seeing some great defense these last few weeks by the Jaguars, who I think have like 15 turnovers, 13, 15 turnovers. They lead the league in takeaways this season.
Yeah. So what a week. What a week. Yeah. I picked horribly. 3. You did better, right? You got 7.
I was 50% overall.
50%, 7 out of 14. Not great. Me, way worse. Let's see if we can do better here with this next week, because we are now to the place where we're going to make our picks and prognostications for what's going to happen next week. Let me get my week 6 schedule up here, and let's just kind of talk through this, walk through this, and see who we think will be the winners. So I quickly last week said Philadelphia was going to win, but I am... I'm, am I once bitten, twice shy? The Giants did have a good defense against New Orleans, but not enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is Philadelphia going to be able to do the same thing New Orleans did? They haven't looked as explosive, especially Jalen Hurts, unless they're doing that tush push. I have got to stick with Philadelphia and the anger they have at losing last week and no longer being undefeated. I think they're going to come back and beat the Giants. I may regret that one.
I thought you were going to join me on this side of insanity for a second there, but I'm going with the New York. I'm going with the New York Giants.
All right, we'll see. That's a first contested right out of the gate. Let's move this second game. Denver Jets. At this point, I cannot ever bet on the Jets. It's Denver.
I am going to go with the New York Jets getting their first win of the season. The best way to stop the Broncos defense is to run the ball at them. The one thing the Jets have been good at throughout the season, no matter what, is running the football. They can control the clock and then just put enough pressure onto Bo Nix. So go Jets.
You would think so. They have not proven it yet.
Right.
Let's see if this ends up being the case. Rams, Baltimore. Lamar's not back yet, right?
He has not practiced yet. They have not officially ruled him out, but he has not practiced.
I'm going on the assumption Cooper Rush is still there. I'm going on the assumption that the other injuries are somewhat still there. I think some of those have come back, but I'm also going on the idea that the Rams are just angry at themselves for letting themselves lose to the 49ers. Rams are going to get strong against Baltimore. I know that if Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry are both out there, that's tough, but picking the Rams.
I'm going to agree with you there. I have the Rams.
Sure you were going to
No,
this is the week.
with the Ravens defense, the way it is, like, I cannot pick any team that has offense with a pulse.
Okay, so Rams it is for us too. Dallas, Carolina. I know Carolina has won 2 in a row, and I didn't think they would last week. I think, as much as I hate Dallas, I think they are a better team than Carolina. I'm going Dallas on this one. You think Bryce Young is going to show that magic again? I can see it in your face.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm gonna go with Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. Now that he's learned how to curve the football somehow, Bryce Young is unstoppable.
Unstoppable. All right. Indy, Arizona. I'm picking Indy on this one. Arizona gave away the game last week, but Indy has been winning the games they need to win by a lot and really playing the one team, the Rams. They played them really tough. They kind of gave that one away. I think Indy is going to win this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Indy too. This game features both Shane Steichen, Philadelphia Eagles former offensive coordinator, and former Eagles defensive coordinator on that same staff, Jonathan Gannon, going head to head. They went up against each other in practice for so many years, and now get to put it on the field. And this one's in Indy, so
It's
I'm
in
gonna go
Indy.
Indy.
I
Yeah.
think Jonathan Taylor has another big game. I don't know how are Arizona stopping the run.
Their defense is good. All of their losses have been last second field goals the last 3 weeks. So they're not as bad, I think, as 2-3, but
Yeah.
they're not great.
Their defensive line may be good, but I think Indy's offensive line is really good this year. You know, when
Yeah.
we lost Kelly and Fries, I was a little sad, but I had faith in Tortellini, Tanner Bortolini.
Bortolini, yeah. The pasta man.
The pasta man. I had faith in him in the center. I didn't know who would come in where.
Fries was, yeah.
Yeah, I just lost his name. Gonclaves.
Is it Guncle? Yeah.
Gonclaves. I wasn't sure who would be there and what he would be doing, and he's doing great too. I love our offensive line, and I think they give Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor both a big boon, and I think that will continue. Seattle, Jacksonville. I am 100%. This was probably somewhat heart. I'm 100% rooting for Seattle in this one. I need some space in the AFC South, but I also think Seattle's been playing really well. I think Sam Darnold played well against Tampa Bay, even though they lost. And I think Jacksonville got a little lucky at the end of that game that somehow they got that play to work. I don't think that play run 100 times would work but once.
Yeah.
so,
Nope.
So I'm going to say Seattle wins this one.
I'm going to go with Seattle as well. The offense for Jacksonville still hasn't put it fully together, and I have a tough time believing that they will be able to fully put it together against a good Seahawks defense.
Yeah. Chargers, Miami. Chargers. I know they've looked bad, but this is Miami. They've only beat the Jets, and I need Mike McDaniel to be fired by week 8. So Chargers it is. Pittsburgh, Cleveland. Cleveland, I think, will play Pittsburgh harder than we expect, but they have what's his face, the guy they played last week. They're not even sure if they're going to put Shedeur Sanders as the backup quarterback. Do they even have another guy on? I guess they had so many quarterbacks. They have to have somebody.
They're down to the 2 active and then Deshaun Watson, who still is in the.
Are they thinking about putting Deshaun Watson in as the second?
He's still injured, so he's still on injured reserve.
That's what I thought. So why have they not already said Shedeur is the backup quarterback? Because they still won't say that.
Well, maybe when Myles Garrett was signing his contract and he told the radio host that he knew the plan for the quarterback and he was excited about it because that was a big factor in his decision. Maybe it was because he knew he would get the chance at backup quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, and he will be the guy to try and get it done.
Maybe. Well, as it stands, I have no faith in their offense. None. Pittsburgh hasn't been amazing, but I think they're going to have enough to win this one.
I'm going to go Browns. You're
going to say they stop Aaron Rodgers.
Yep, yeah. The defensive line gets back into the win column after giving up. It was the first time they gave up 300 yards in a game all season, and it was against they had played Lamar Jackson, they had played the Detroit Lions, they had played Joe Burrow. Carson Wentz got a team over 300 yards against the Cleveland Browns. But Aaron Rodgers will not.
Here's the thing. If Cleveland wins this, that division is just in disarray. Like who is really the strong one?
And that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping for a straight up just chaos
disarray
ball in the AFC
North. New England, New Orleans. Suddenly, something that looks more like a game than it would have a week ago before the game was played. I would have been like, there's no question. I still think New England is going to beat New Orleans. But if they play like they played last week, it's going to be more of a game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with New England as well. The Saints did force fumbles last week, and the Patriots have fumbled a lot. But hopefully Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson can both hold on to the football.
Yeah, and for me, I kind of want to see New England push the Bills a little bit. I still like the Bills. Yeah. I've always liked the Bills. It seems like they can never get there, but I also like the idea of New England pushing them a little bit. Tennessee, Las Vegas. I know these two teams are both bad. You know, I don't even know who I think is going to win this one. Who did Tennessee beat last week?
They beat the Cardinals and got it handed to them on a silver platter. So
because I just didn't feel like they were that great of a team to beat somebody. Las Vegas though looks really not great either.
I think I'm gonna go with the Titans. I think they're going to be able to force some turnovers.
I don't have to think so hard. Oh man.
While you're thinking, just going back quickly to Drake May and the New England Patriots, the New England Patriots, you might think, they don't, we don't want to cheer for them to win because they're the Patriots. Well, they don't have Bill Belichick anymore. And guess what? Every time the Patriots win, it makes Belichick furious. He has instructed UNC not to post anything about the New England Patriots. That was the report, including former UNC quarterback Drake May. And then as soon as that report came out, 2 hours later, the UNC football account posted a highlight video of Drake May saying, like, kind of trying to cover their bases. So even though it is the Patriots and they've been hated for the past, we can like them now because it makes Bill Belichick angry.
Here's my problem when it comes to Raiders Titans, the one I'm currently debating over. They're both 1-4. And then there's the Jets sitting down at 0 wins. Saints still only have 1, and the Giants have 1. I'm trying to think, who do I not want to get the number 1 overall pick? I guess it's still too early to talk like that. I'm going to say I think the Raiders might win this one. And I might want the Raiders to win this one because I don't know why.
Because if the Titans get the number 1 pick, they don't have to use it on a quarterback. They can get a beef up another.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's not have them even in that discussion. But no, I think the want has nothing to do with it. I think Las Vegas is going to somehow win against Tennessee, and it's going to be a low-scoring, ugly-looking game. But there we go. So we're on separate sides, right? I picked Las Vegas. Yes. You picked Tennessee. Yep. Better write that one down, man. I should. San Francisco, Tampa Bay, another one that I want to just say Tampa Bay, but man, I keep counting San Francisco out, and they keep winning. It's got to be Tampa Bay. It's got to be.
I'm going Tampa. Yeah, it's Baker Mayfield. He just brings the team to the level needed to win games.
We're going to say they do that again. But, so far, that's what San Francisco's been doing, too.
That's true. That is true.
Cincinnati, Green Bay. I don't think Joe Flacco does it again against Green Bay. I think Green Bay is going to demolish Cincinnati. If it ends up being another game where they win by 3, Joe Flacco has become the kryptonite of Green Bay officially.
Yeah. Yep, I'm going with Packers.
Yeah. Okay. Detroit, Kansas City. I'm going Detroit all the way. Detroit has looked strong since that week 1 blunder. They have looked really strong. And KC has looked not so strong and lots of mistakes. And I think Detroit wins this one. It may not be.
I'm gonna go Chiefs.
May not be a blowout. But, you're going Chiefs. This is one I'll pick. Lions, KC. I'm okay with that. Boy, we're getting more than 4 this week on contentions. Let's move down to Buffalo, Atlanta. Man, again, it used to just be a give me, but I do think Buffalo needs to get a taste out of their mouth, and I think they take it out on Atlanta.
I agree. I think Buffalo wins that one.
Then we got Chicago and Washington. Right now, Washington has the better record by 1. Is that right? Are they
a half game? Yeah, because the Bears were off last week.
Yeah, so
it is a rematch of last year's Hail Mary game where Tyreek Stevenson, during the Hail Mary play, as the ball was being snapped, could be seen waving to Washington fans and taunting with them on the sideline as the receivers were coming down towards the end zone. So will Tyreek Stevenson redeem himself? We will find out.
Who do you think is going to win this one? I'm going to go. I guess I want to go first. I like going first. Oh man! Oh man! I think Ben Johnson is going to continue to like get Chicago a little more ready and a little more ready. But I think Washington's going to win this one.
I'm going Bears. I'm going Caleb Williams winning this one.
Okay. So all in all, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 contested games. Maybe I don't know if that's the most we've had. I know one week we
think it. Yeah.
We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh wait, but that wasn't contested just between me and you. That's when we were talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7 is the most that we've had so far in contested games. So we'll have to see.
There we go.
What happens with that? Okay, so there. I will tell all of our viewing audience there may be some disruption to the football pandemic in the near future, but if everything continues to go well, I anticipate being back here next week and seeing how these games turn out, and yeah, just going from there. Is there anything else we're talking about today?
I mean, if you wanted to do marquee manure and my oh my real quick.
We've got to do our marquee manure and my oh my. Marquee games. Oh, I should have been thinking of this as we went. Let me just quickly scan here because I did not pick these out before. I think I said I liked, where's it at? I lost my, who's Seattle playing? I remember thinking that.
The Jaguars.
The Jags. I think that's going to be a good game. Let me see if I think it's marquee. You can go ahead and tell me your marquee.
Oh yeah, my marquee is going to be the Commanders and the Bears again. Number 1 versus number 2 overall picks again, and then also the taste in the mouth. This was the game that turned the Bears season around last year and made the Commanders go on a little bit of a run as well with that Hail Mary. So some demons for the Bears to exercise, and the Commanders a chance to get up to 4-2.
Okay, I'm gonna go marquee Seattle Jacksonville this week. Oh no. I'm gonna go marquee Detroit Kansas City.
There you go. Yeah,
I just feel like that's more of a marquee game for the world. They both have the ability to play really well, even though I think Detroit's gonna win that one. I think that's going to be my marquee. Manure. What do you got for manure?
I'll go Titans Raiders. I'll take that one off the table because that is a 1-4 versus 1-4.
Man, that was the one I had such a hard time even picking a winner. That would have been a great choice. Good choice. Let's see. I'm gonna go. Oh man. Do I want to go Denver, New York Giants? Maybe not. How about I just go what I okay. I am going to go with, what did I just say?
You said maybe the Broncos Jets. I mean, maybe the Bengals Packers could be.
Well, I looked at that one as like what I thought would be the biggest blowout. Pitt, Cleveland, that might be a closer game than we think. I'm going to go with the Broncos Jets. I'm just gonna say it's not going to be a very good game. Okay, and then
it's in England too.
It's in England, so I'm not even going to be able to watch it. So actually, I'm going to be working. So, all right, let's see. My oh my. Go ahead. You get to go first with all 3 of these for your my oh my.
I'll go 49ers Buccaneers. I think there's going to be a lot of fireworks and 2 teams that have pulled out a lot of wins and gone through adversity to pull out those wins.
Okay, I think that's a good one. That's one I considered. But since I didn't pick Seattle Jacksonville for my marquee, I'm going to pick it for my oh my. Seattle Jacksonville. I think that's going to be a good game. I'm hoping Seattle wins it. All right. Well, there we go. That will do it for us then here today. Thank you guys for joining us on the Football Fandemic. Come back next week. We'll see how good or how bad we picked this week, and we'll look at all the fun games of the NFL. Thanks for joining us, y'all. Have a great week.